This is the voice of freedom. We are not one voice. We are many. We are your voice. But we can only be effective if you use your voice. Your voice. This is the voice of freedom. We will not hide from the truth. We will ask the hard questions until we are sure we have the truth. Welcome to the voice of freedom, where your voice will never be silenced.
Well, g'day folks, and welcome to the Voice of Freedom on a Saturday here, at any rate, a Saturday evening, and wherever you're watching in the world, I hope you've had a pretty good day or a pretty good night, whichever way it happens to be. I'm going to tell you, for a Saturday night show, last week's show on QSI, the Quantum Stellar Initiative, has proved to give me the most feedback of just about any subject that I've touched in the time the Voice of Freedom has been on the air. And a lot of that pushback has been very negative. So I was alerted to your feelings about it and your concerns about it. And in the endeavor of asking quite a few of your questions tonight, I have some lined up. Vince is back to join us tonight. He sat very quietly last week, but Vince is, of course, our web manager and looks after all things Voice of Freedom online that way. How are you, mate? I know you've had a procedure recently, so how are you feeling?
A little purple. You can sort of see the arm there, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Going well, mate. Going well. I will not be so quiet tonight, so I may interrupt you a few times.
No, feel free. Feel free. I've too had some education from some people who've come from the Bitcoin realm. So there's a few questions from them, and I have a ton of questions from you. So without further ado, let's get into it tonight. Good evening, Jane from QSI. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks, Carl. Thanks for having us here. Much appreciated.
Look, lovely to have you back. I've got so many questions for you, and I know we haven't discussed, any of the questions really, and I know that you're looking forward to sinking your teeth into them, and the cranker is on board as well, so we shouldn't struggle getting any answers anywhere anyhow. Good evening, Jim, or should I say to you at least very, very early good morning, because it's a little after 2:30 in the morning where you are.
Well, thank you for having us again, and I thank all the Australian audience and the rest of the people that are going to watch this video tonight. So I'm welcoming the opportunity to bring more information to everyone.
Well, I think that's probably the greatest desire here. We always spoke of this being a segment about education. It's not about selling anything or pointing people in the direction of buying stuff. It's about making sure they understand what it is they're buying, I guess. At least that's where I thought it was going to be going. But then I started getting reactions like this one, which is pretty interesting, from Peggy Sue. Tell us why you think you have the right to say this and how it will be. How dare you think you can track us, and how dare you tell us we will list all our assets? I guess this gets back to what I'm now learning from the terminology is a centralized digital coin. Would I be fair in saying that part's right, Jim?
And it's a decentralized banking. The white hats have taken, and these questions here are very valid. So I'm not discouraging any of these questions, because this is all new. So I want people to have questions, and it's good to question, because that's how we got into this mess. We didn't get involved,
Sure.
And we didn't question. So this is very positive when having these discussions. So where I'm going to go with this is this. When Donald J. Trump took office, okay, he says, I'm going to give you back your country, and I'm going to give you back your world. Okay. Since he took office, if you look at the $100 bill here, see the $100 bill? Everyone see it? See that gold there? Okay. Then you look over here. See that strip that's in the middle? He was telling us we're going to the gold-backed standard. We're going back to asset-backed money, because the money we have now is all bullshit. It's all fiat. It's all based on our labor. There's nothing backing it other than our labor. So in doing that, the quantum financial system comes about, okay? So the only way that you can have an honest money system is a total transparent system, because the current system is not transparent, not at all. So if you look at our Wall Street, I mean, it is all fictitious. It's all just numbers on a piece of paper on a computer screen. There's nothing backing it. If everyone went into the stock market right now and they wanted to pull their money out, it's not there. They don't have it. I mean, Robert David Steele said that there was a minimum of $100 trillion of fraud just in Wall Street. Okay. And then you look at how the Federal Reserve is a private corporation. It has nothing to do with any of our countries at all. The IRS is a private corporation. It has nothing to do with any of our countries. These are all private entities that have been robbing us. So the quantum system is totally transparent. It's the people's money. And when people say, well, you know, I don't want anyone tracking me, I don't want anything. Well, let me just share this with you guys. If you're old school, and you have a checkbook, okay, you see those Micker numbers? That's magnetic ink character recognition. That's been all electronically done forever, but they give you the illusion that you're writing a check and everything's private. Nothing's been private. They've been monitoring your checkbook. They've been monitoring your bank accounts. Every debit card, every credit card, all your electronic bank transfers for your bills, everything's been electronic in the world we've been living in. Okay. Even our music is digitized. Okay. If you look at our music industry, we went from albums to 8-tracks to cassettes to disc to now we're on Pandora. We're on all these electronic ways. So the same thing's applying with our money. Now, with that being said, this question is a valid question, and I tell you this is why. When these evil bastards, the elite, the Illuminati, were going to take over our banking industry, they were going to control us. And they were going to control us by the banking industry. Okay. That was centralized. We are going to a decentralized system. The white hats took over the banks, you guys. And I know it doesn't look like it right now because we're living in this so-called movie to wake people up. And this is all part of the wake-up process. We are taking over our banking industry. We are taking back our sovereignty. And the only way to do that is that we have to eliminate all the evil. And we all know about the child trafficking and what's going on in that. And that was heavily done throughout the whole banking industry. So by having total transparent quantum system, the only person that's in charge is God. And if you got nothing to hide, then this is a free, sovereign banking system for you. And yes, is it transparent? 100%. Because God's going to keep all the evil out. We're done with all the evil on this earth. So that's the best way I can answer that. If you got anything to add to that, Jane?
Yeah, I do. Nino actually summed it up really succinctly earlier today. The QFS will free everyone from the central banking cartel.
Yes.
Okay. Let's just clarify something here.
Yeah.
Right. QFS, Quantum Financial System, QSI, they're not the same thing. From the research I've done, right, QFS is operated by a global set of high-level businesses, including Microsoft, IBM, etc. Right? Now, you guys talk about QFS and you talk about QSI, but nowhere do I see any relation that QSI is even integrated with QFS. And if it is, should we trust it, knowing who's controlling QFS?
So QSI is an educational organization that was started by Emily Tang, okay? And Emily is very close knit to the QFS people, okay? And Whiplash 347 has been dropping intel about the new QFS system for over 2 years on Telegram. And he was doing it before that. So, you know, QSI is bringing to the light through all the darkness. And there are other organizations and other people out there that are promoting the QFS system. But it is our our goal and our mission to help people and get on platforms like we are right now to help people better understand what's going on, where the new system, where the new world's all about. And the way we look at money is going to be totally different than the way we've been living. So we're going to be living in a world of abundance because of the wealth of the wicked is coming back to the righteous. And people are going to learn through this great awakening that we've been living basically in a total illusion. There's not been any truth in our world at all. We've been lied to in so many ways. So QSI is more than just a QFS system. It's about bringing light through all the darkness. We expose a lot of things, but our main goal is through the quantum financial system, helping people understand where we're going through the new financial system.
Yeah, but at the moment, the two are not combined. You and QSI and with lumens, stellar lumens, is not actually involved in that process from everything I've found. So, and the second question being, everybody's distrustful of big corporations and governments, right? So we know that the QFS is big corporation and government. It's minus the central digital bank currency, or central bank digital currency. But so you see what I'm trying to, I just want to get a clear distinction for our viewers about where you stand in this QFS/QSI partnership.
We're bringing you the information of the new quantum financial system. And if you go back to President Trump's inauguration speech, it's all about sovereignty. And the quantum financial system gives you sovereignty. It gives you back your power. You're going to have your own bank. Everything's going to be in the palm of your hand or on your computer. You're not going to have to go to a bank anymore. Everything's going to be available to you 24/7. You are taking total control of your financial responsibilities. The other part of this is that you're investing into humanity. Government, I said this on the other show that we did last week. Government means govern means control. Ment means your mind.
Yeah,
okay?
we understand that. We understand that, but let's try and keep this out.
There's a method. There's a method to my madness here. I want everyone to understand and follow me. Okay? We're not going to be allowing government to control us anymore. And we're not going to allow the central banks to control us anymore. So QSI would answer your question. We're here to talk about these situations and come out with people and explore the new sovereignty and educate. I don't like using the word educate. I like to use the word help give people knowledge, because we've been educated in a bullshit way our whole entire life, full of lies. And while you're asking these questions, we've always said all along, we're providing the information, but you, being a sovereign soul, you have to do your own research. Do everything. When we tell you something, we ask you all the time, here's the information, do your own research. Because once you do your own research, then you gain knowledge.
All right. So still back to the question. QSI, QFS, are you integrated or are you not? Or are you working alongside each other but separate entities? That's the question.
Separate entities. Just like I said, we're just providing the information that you do your own research, you become your own sovereign, you do your own work, but we're just working alongside QFS to bring people the information. And then once we give you the information, go, don't trust Gene Wright, go do your own research.
Back to you, Carl.
All right. I've got a question that was sent in to us, well, one of quite a few, in fact. This one's from Peter. Do you have any references such as an audit, and do you know where the gold is being held to back XMR? I think you said last week that XMR is backed by gold, Stellar is backed by silver. Also wants to know if there is a similar audit for Stellar being backed by silver, showing how much liquidity is available and where it's being kept safe.
So all the precious metals have been, they're working from what I've studied and what I've researched. I don't have the actual facts, so I don't think anyone does, but the Q team. but all the countries are all going to have asset-backed currency. Now, when I says asset-backed, it doesn't necessarily mean it's precious metals. It could be backed by oil. It could be backed by agriculture. It could be backed by diamonds. It could be backed by whatever commodity is in that country. So not all the currency is going to be backed by a precious metal. So that's the answer to that question.
Yeah, and the other thing too, Jim, I think Emily's alluded to on the audit for the gold. I think I heard or read somewhere earlier today it was 600 odd planes left the Vatican filled with the gold that they found there. As for the actual total number or amount, I think that the Q team has that, and it's probably still subject to an NDA, so a non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah, it's in the quadrillions, you guys.
Yeah,
Quadrillions.
but it's also not something that you guys have access to, or XRP can wrap as a status. So at the moment, to say that these are backed by is really not quite truthful.
Say that again. He didn't come through. I heard some background noise.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so digital assets work in the process that you're going to wrap. Say a bar of gold is going to be worth a digital asset, and that asset is tied to that bar of gold. But at the moment, that's not the case with anything like XRP or lumens or whatever. There are a few digital currencies that say they have that, but at the moment, I can't see that evidence anywhere else.
Well, all these coins that you're talking about are ISO certified. So, I mean, those assets are backed by a commodity. They are backed 100%. So if you haven't found that out, we can provide you that information. And the other thing is if you go through our education, our new classroom, you can see all the maps and how the QFS is consistently works. You know, you can see how the new money system is going to flow throughout the mapping system. So I highly encourage everyone to go to QSI and go through our education system, and it breaks down everything that you're asking right now. And for all those people that are asking those questions, all the proofs are right there.
Right, you are.
Gene, did you bring, excuse me a second, Carl. Gene, did you bring Emily's slideshow?
Yes, Carl has that.
I have that. Yep.
Yeah, that'll help.
That will definitely help.
Just while I'm bringing that up. Just while I'm bringing that up, I've got a question from a mate in Victoria, from Greenie. Will people get the deed to the land that they own or are paying off under this new system?
That is my understanding.
Yes, they will. I mean, that's the part that people don't, that we're going to be discovering, is that all your land deeds, your mortgages are going to be forgiven. Everything that's been done to us has been a complete lie. So your deeds are now going to come into your name. They're not going to be owned by the crown anymore.
Okay, but is that that's part of the QFS system or part of QSI?
No, that's part of the Act of 1871 that we took down the crown. So, you know, just so people understand this, there's been three pillars that have been running the whole entire world. That's Parliament in London, Vatican City, and Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Okay? The crown is, everyone needs to understand this. Every country throughout the whole entire land was turned into a corporation, including the four of us at birth. We were turned into a corporation with our birth certificate. So this all goes back to the Act of 1871, and then it goes back to when we were turned into a corporation. Now we're taking back our sovereignty. We're starting to come, we're coming into being a sovereign country, being sovereign citizens. I should say sovereign souls, not a sovereign citizen. There's a big difference between a sovereign citizen and a sovereign soul. A sovereign citizen is still a slave. A citizen's a slave of the corporation. A soul is God-given. We are all born with God-given rights. And that's what we're taking back, is our God-given rights.
Yep. Carry on, Carl. You're muted, my friend. Carl, you're muted.
Very well. Let me unmute myself. There you go. Sorry about that. Pardon me. So it says here, White Hat controls the UN, IMF, the WB, what's that? And the WF.
World Bank.
And, World Bank, sorry. And central
WEF.
bank digitalized coins. So these would be the
Currency.
Would be the
Currency.
Yeah, the WF. And the currency that's currently being spoken about by so many financial institutions here in Australia, at least. Jim, you're probably not aware, but our Reserve Bank governor has been under pressure recently in our Senate Estimates Committee, which is a bit for you like a Congress investigation, I guess, and trying to figure out why our interest rates are going up and up and up and up and up, and have been nearly, I think it's gone up close to 10% in the last 12 or 18 months. So they're under a bit of pressure at the moment. We've been told that they're broke. We've been told, I think they've admitted that they're broke. Why is it still working? Why is it still being ground along like this? If the White Hats have control of everything, why are we doing this?
We're
They
living
need
in a.
to self-implode.
Go ahead, Jane. Go ahead, Jane.
They need to self-implode for the people to see, because not everyone is at the same stage of awake as what we are, and not everyone in our population understands that the RBA is broke. Go, Jim.
Yeah,
That's true.
so we're living in a duality, and unfortunately, the amount of people, like Jane says, are not awake. And Q has always said, you cannot tell them, you have to show them. And, this whole system, a good offense in the art of war is a good defense. So what you do is you just let them keep imploding their own system. And that's what we're seeing right before our eyes.
All right. What are we seeing here? The timeline of quantum events.
In 2018, we see Q1, the World Bank begins writing paper on blockchain opportunities. In 2019, in January, the World Bank paper adds DLT and publishes. August, Trump signs National Quantum Initiative. Then we've got 2020, the IMF hires Saylor. I'm not sure that there'll be a connection to that further through. August, they record 650 billion. What is SDR, Jim? I've forgotten it. My brain's gone dead.
I can't see. I'm on my phone because my computer is down, so I can't see the screen. It's so small.
So it's 650 billion SDR.
It says
I should know what this is.
So August record 650 billion SDR. Beneath that, August IMF payment infrastructure for innovative technologies and DLT.
SDR, Google told me special drawing rights.
Okay.
Or August, the IMF payment.
Right.
So we just went through that. And then the framework for the CBDCs.
And
to
in November,
and then so that's to employ the central banks from within. So they're going to implode themselves. So effectively, the CBDCs, they've taken what was going to be bad and black hat and cabal, and they're bringing it over here and giving it the white hat version, which is for good, to actually bring down the central banks for all to see their nefarious activities and what they were doing. So, and in 2021, in July, the WEF features XRP, Stellar, and Algo in publications of theirs. In December, 10-country cyber hack and black swan market crash simulation. So for what's coming. So there is a market crash coming. They simulated it back in December of 2021. 2022, Ripple presents at the WEF. June, the WEF needs to change strategies moving forward. October, WEF partners with Stellar. And that's in documents from the WEF. December, UN beta test Stella. And in
Okay, can we stop there for a
2023,
sec? Can we
yep,
stop there for a sec? So we, all us freedom fighters, etc., understand that the World Economic Forum is not our friend. And yet you're saying here, Ripple presents at the World Economic Forum, June, World Economic Forum needs to change their targets moving forward. Then partners with Stella. The World Economic Forum partners with Stella. Can you see now how there's going to be confusion to people who are listening to this?
Yeah,
yes, I can
and that's a
understand
great question, but you have to understand what the black hats were going to do to us, what the Illuminati was going to do to us. We took what they were going to do to us. When I say we, the white hats, the alliance, they took it and they made it good. They reversed it on them. It's like a wrestling match.
Realize that, but we're talking about the World Economic Forum, and we know they haven't changed.
Well, Stellar was at the World Economic Forum, and Stellar presented itself.
So,
say that again.
Yeah, along with Klaus Schwab. So
Klaus Schwab's gone. Klaus Schwab wasn't in Davos. No one was there. They're gone. They're gone. Eliminated. What you're watching right now, let me just finish, please, because this is really important that people hear this, okay? If you do your research, you will find out that these people have been taken out. What you're seeing right now is body doubles. It's a movie. This is the best and the most incredible world sting operation of all time. All right? If none of this is true, if Hillary Clinton and the black hats were still in charge like you're thinking, this conversation wouldn't even be happening. That's a true statement. If you read the Agenda 2021, if you read the Agenda 25 and the Agenda 30, we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now. So people got to think. Use your head. You got to use your noggin. And then the biggest part about this is this. You have to get out of the 3D thinking of where things were and where we are.
Yeah, let's not go down the 3D, 4D, 5D path.
Well, it's important. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. You have to. Because if you stay in the 3D thinking, you're never going to follow to what we are right now. Because that's an old world. We're going away from it. See this flag behind me? This is really important, you guys.
Yeah.
If we're going to come to a time where we're not going to be recognized by our flag, we're going to be recognized as brothers and sisters of God, not recognized by a corporation or a country. God didn't create countries. God created all of us. And eventually that's going to go bye-bye. We're going to become kingdoms. We're going to be brothers and sisters of God. And that's where we're at with this. We're going into a new world, you guys. It's not even close to what we've been living in. So when you say, let's not go down the ascension, that's not true, because that's where we're going. We are ascending out of the 3D matrix. We're leaving the illusions and the lies that we've been living in. Yeah, that's really important for people to understand that.
I understand that, and I'm not denying those options are there or the ability to move. But what I'm saying is that 90% of the audience that's going to watch this is still 3D. They need assistance moving that way, and talking about a 5D subject or God or whatever is literally just going to throw all the walls up. So let's get back to something that they can use.
Well, I understand that, but it's our job to bring them along. We can't stay in that. We can't stay in we can't stay in a world of lies. We've been living in lies. Everything we've been living in is a lie, right down to our education system, our court system, our banking system, our food system. That's all part of the ascension, is leaving all that bullshit behind. It's really important people understand that.
Just going on the very simple thing, one of the things I am as Christian, and I believe in God, okay? So please understand me. I'm not having a shot at you for that reason. I am being, if you want, a little bit of a devil's advocate today, because I'm asking questions that the public will probably ask. But there was one thing I always loved so much about a lot of the Christian churches and stuff that we went to, was the God will drop it in your lap mentality. That's not how God works. So in this situation, you're asking people to have faith. Faith is brilliant, but let's start backing it up with information, with facts, with stuff on how they see this transposition going, with along the lines of, for instance, it's not just going to be one digital currency that's for everybody. There's still going to be multiple digital currencies with border crossing platforms, etc., and so on. That's what needs to be explained.
Yeah. And if we continue with the slideshow, there's a couple of next slides will actually help understand things.
Go for it.
Put a few more things into perspective, because Emily's put so here with the World Bank. World Bank on blockchain opportunities January 2019. So the focus was on low carbon blockchain chains, not cabal cryptos, BTC or ETH, to create financial inclusion in developing nations, increase governance and transparency, and build trust with people. The World Bank, and this was a quote, disruptive technologies are shaping the fourth industrial revolution to create ideal conditions for altering the current economic infrastructure. The biggest impact is anticipated to be a combination of smart contracts and IoT. The blockchain could reduce cost of goods by 66.6%. So back to 1955's pricing. RV, so revaluation, focus on shipping and logistics assets, and is a threat to Google, Amazon, Facebook, and Apple. Recommended DLT and featured R3, Ripple, and IBM Hyperledger. Indirectly confirmed in conclusion that Hyperledger Stellar was the chosen platform. Beyond financial services, with Hyperledger already involved in proofs of concept in supply chain provenance initiatives, Hyperledger, an open source collaborative effort created to advance cross-industry blockchain technologies, is an example. Hosted by the Linux Foundation, it includes ABN AMRO, ANZ Bank, Deutsche Börse Group, BNP Paribas, BNY Mellon, State Street Bank, and Wells Fargo. And Wells Fargo are also working on the Horizon Network. So Detective, who Emily speaks with, has access to all the transactions on the ledger, even more than we can see on Stellar.expert. And he has been tracking down all the criminals, so that he's been doing the KYC AML. So KYC AML is know your customer, anti-money laundering. So he's been helping to identify and weed out those individuals. Conclusion model 3, public blockchain systems where an organization takes on the responsibility and liability for running the system. This could be through open source systems such as Hyperledger, which has the ability for organizations to alter the network according to their needs, grant permissions to those who need it, and keep out those who don't. So Stellar equals chosen blockchain to mint financial market infrastructure, FMI assets like SWIFT, Fedwire, SPFS, SFMS, CHIPS, CHAPS, EBA, etc. Stellar is only blockchain with World Bank minted asset. So
I've got a couple of questions. So given the spirituality of this war was mentioned there before, there's a few things that draw my attention immediately, but let's start with 66.6%. Given the fight we're fighting, given the spirituality conversation, Jim, that you wanted to bring up before, couldn't we have fudged that number 0.1% either way?
Hey, we've got to remember that they took all our numbers that had positive meanings and made us believe that they were negative.
So
I haven't seen much evidence that particular terribly positive yet.
I know, it looks a bit funny, doesn't it? Jim?
So this is the duality that we're talking about in this war. We have to take what they made ugly and we have to turn it beautiful. Okay. They took our birth certificates. The minute we came out of our mother's womb, they made something beautiful and they turned it ugly. Now we're taking the opposite. We are taking what they turn ugly and we're turning it back into godly. We're turning it into beautiful. The same thing applies in everything. The symbolism, the numbers, all their bullshit. We're saying we ain't doing this no more. We ain't allowing it to happen no more. And in part of this whole thing, this with the financial system, is that there's systems that they already created that we're just taking over and we're modifying. So there's a big difference between centralized and decentralized. This is all decentralized. The centralized was the evil central bank system. The decentralized is we the people are taking back our sovereignty. We're taking back our money system. So if you look at our dollar bill, if you take that off the screen, Carl, because I want everyone to see this, please. Take that slideshow off the screen. If you look at this right here, you see that? Everyone see that?
Ah, yes, it's the wonderful pyramid with the eye. Yep.
This is what we're doing to it. We're putting the people on top. It's not going to be like this anymore. It's going to be like this. And we're getting rid of that eye. We, the people, are going, we're going to have the power. That's what we're doing right now. That's exactly what we're doing.
So where the confusion seems to lie then is that in our discussion last week, it sounded like XMR and XLM were going to be centralized digital currency. Now, whether that is something that is used, in international banking circles and whatnot, people have got the idea that we're going to lose access to cash and coin. I don't believe that's going to be the case.
No.
Just to clarify, it's XRP.
XRP is backed by gold. XLM is backed by silver. XDC is backed by copper. Okay, XDC is going to be really the bridge behind everything that's going to work. But what people need to understand is that the rainbow currency is going to be coming alongside with the digital assets, and there's going to be a transformation period where the cash is just going to keep going. It's going to be a rainbow currency, and that'll be your physical cash. The old cash is going away because it's got all kinds of demonic symbolism on it, and it's evil. So there'll be a transformation. What that period of time is going to be, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, I don't know. But eventually it's going to be all digitized. And people really got to wrap their head around this. Everything we do is digitized. Everything we do is on a computer. All your banking you have right now, and this is the biggest part of this ascension that I'm talking about, you guys, is living in fear. And I'm sounding very direct right now. I'm not yelling at you. I'm trying to get you to think. Everything they've done to us is controlling us by fear. Don't live in fear. This system gives you back your power. You're able to do your bank transfers. You're not going to have to go put a check in the bank. You're not going to have to go to the bank to get cash. Everything's going to be available to you 24/7, 365 days a year. So it's giving you your freedom. So where I'm going with this is this. The system we're living in right now is totally digitized, 100%. The only thing that's not digitized is the cash. That's it.
So I have a question here for a guy who's living off Bitcoin. When he needs cash, he transfers a bit into his wallet and gets it out from wherever he gets it out from, but lives on Bitcoin. So his question is, what happens to the Bitcoin that he owns at this great switch over to the QFS? Will it be worthless, and just will the person lose it, or will it be covered or converted at least into whatever the QFS coin turns out to be?
So Bitcoin is going to crash, but a certain percentage of it is going to transfer over. The cryptocurrency that's been existing is not backed by anything. There's nothing backing Bitcoin. And if you look at Bitcoin's three-letter acronyms is BT.
Yeah, we don't need to go there. You went there last time, but on that same thing.
Well, wait a minute. Why don't we need to go? Hold on a second. Why don't we need to go there? That's a baby
it's not
trafficking coin.
100% truth. That's
why.
a
baby trafficking coin. That coin was designed by the CIA.
So I own Bitcoin. So you're calling me a baby trafficker?
No, I'm not. I'm saying the coin is. That's what I'm saying. They lied to you.
All that. It's any tool is a tool, and that's all it is. It can be
so
good.
Let me ask you this. What's Bitcoin backed by?
Okay, what's Stellar backed by?
What's what?
If I understand correctly, Stellar is backed by Ethereum, Bitcoin. What else did I find out it was backed by? But that's how when ISO was first started for Stellar, that's what it was made in. Bitcoin and Ethereum was where the money came from. Now, you may have converted that to gold and silver, which I haven't seen proof of yet. I did say I was playing devil's advocate, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I understand this, but you have to understand those coins when were those coins made? When were those coins? When did they come into the market?
With Bitcoin, some way back in 2009.
And what was going on during that time? The housing market crash. The housing market crash was going on. The central banks were taking down all the housing market. And where did they hide the money? Where did they put all the money?
Once again, Bitcoin is mostly anonymous except for what's available on the public ledger. Who owns it, etc., can be tracked. But you can't say that all of Bitcoin happened from there, because that is an incorrect statement. And I think it's wrong to say an incorrect statement. Is it used for illegal means?
It's not an incorrect statement, because Bitcoin and Ethereum was where they hid the money. That's where the central banks, they took the money out of the housing market and they put it into Bitcoin. Bitcoin and Ethereum in the crypto market has nothing back in it. Nothing. It's just no different than Wall Street. It's a bunch of numbers that are put in there that are fictitious, and people have been living off it just like we've been living off this current fiat system. It's all based on just fictitious numbers.
Okay, but do you see what that's where the hypocrite comes into it, because that's how Stellar started, using the very same things when its ICO was released. That's how it built its funds to build Stellar. Okay,
that's not true.
Bitcoin. It is true. I can
no,
tell you it's true.
It's not true. It's not true.
It's
not true. So you have to go through the maps, the QFS maps, to understand where the money is coming from. There is nothing that's backing Bitcoin. There's nothing there. It's fictitious. Just like this dollar bill is fictitious. It's an illusion. There's nothing back. There's nothing acid back to those coins. Period.
And the other thing too, for XRP, XLM, XDC, etc., to be ISO 20022 accredited, they had to be backed by something. Part of their qualification for that standard, they had to be backed by something. And XLM is silver, XRP is gold. So that's part of the requirements to get the certification.
Okay, just to clarify, many cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Ripple use the ISO 222 standard. Just fact.
Okay. Something I'll have to do a bit more research on.
So listen, this here, I just want to be clear on this. We're here to help people. If you guys want to discourage it and you want to question it, then I find that you should do more. You should do. No, you need to. Let me finish my sentence. Let me finish my sentence. Everyone needs to do their own research. Don't trust a thing I'm telling you. I'm here just to help you. And if you don't want to agree with me, that's fine. But everyone's responsible. When you're talking about sovereignty, everyone's responsible for their own research. We're just here to help. We're not here to dictate to you or tell you. We're here to help you. Whether you take our information is up to you.
And we appreciate the time you're taking, especially at the time of the day you are taking it to try and educate us on this, Jim. But it is education, and Australians are a skeptical mob. We have a lot of questions. If you're finding the questions too difficult to answer, or you don't want to, we're not attacking you. We are simply trying to get clarity on the subjects that the people have sent questions into, like XRP and XLM being centralized blockchains. This person says,
right,
but they're not. But
They're not
but
central. They're not centralized, Carl.
permissionless? So are they not permissionless nor censorship resistant, or do you require permissions?
Permission, because it's a decentralized exchange, and I agree with the guys here, it is decentralized, but no matter which cryptocurrency you're going to have, there are permissions, there are certain bits and pieces that's relative to the decentralized station of the events. I'm probably getting too complicated, but it's got to go through a consensus system, right, that says, yes, that is a valid transaction. This computer over here and this centrum agrees that that's a valid transaction, and they all go together. And once that's confirmed, then it goes onto the ledger for permanent record keeping, right? So there's plenty of that sort of stuff. And guys, I'm not deliberately trying to attack you. What I'm doing is just basically throwing out the questions that people will throw so that we can get a valid answer back about what you're on about and where it is. Okay, please do not take that the wrong way. It is a little bit of a attackive, but that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to play devil's advocate because I'm also looking for the answers that you give. It's we're not taking the trust the science option.
No.
Okay?
Well, and you know, I 100% agree with that, but this is what I'm saying. Don't trust everything we're saying. Do your own research. Everything we're giving you. I mean, Whiplash and Emily and QSI have said this from day one. You have to do your own research. We're providing you the information. Once you do the research, then you become knowledgeable about it. Now, you can sit here and ask all questions, and I tell people this all the time. A lot of people they just want to sit in the cheap seats and be critics. I want to be criticized. This is part of learning the ascension process, and this is why I bring it up. Being sovereign is ascending because you take responsibility for me, myself, and I. And don't rely on Jim and Carl and the rest of the people on this panel. We're here to give you information. Then you have to take that information and you got to do your own research on it. You got to come up to your own.
Learn. I am as dumb as the back end of a dog when it comes to this, right? And I am trying very hard to learn. I've looked at a lot of the QSI information. I've had, I don't know how many hours of education on the other side of it from Bitcoin people over the course of this last week or so. I find it immensely interesting and yet immensely challenging all at the same time. And what you are seeing in our chat and in some of the questions that I think Vince is asking rightly on behalf of the people is that we don't trust the science. And me particularly, I don't understand much of anything. Now, last week we talked about Lobster a great deal. And how Lobster was a great wallet. Now, during the week, Emily and I did speak about that. I was getting a lot of feedback that Lobster was a bad wallet. It was not safe or not secure or whatever it is in the digital world. And then I learned a little bit of the history of Lobster from Jane. So, Jane, can you tell that story again, please? Because a lot of people are very concerned about the wallet that we talked about last week.
Yeah, with Lobster, the two developers of Lobster were Khazarians and are Khazarians. They have been arrested by the White Hats. They are in the process of being dealt with or have already been dealt with because that happened last year in the last quarter of last year, I believe. And there was a big announcement made in regards to their arrest and disclosure of information. So it was a declassification of information in regards to their activities on Lobster. So there were some assets that they were using to help generate income like YXLM, YUSDC, YETH, and YBTC that were so if you held the Stellar version of those assets, you were getting an APY on those Y assets.
Okay, just sorry, acronym APY, so people understand what
Annual
APY means.
payment yield.
Thank you.
So you were getting an APY on them, but since or just prior to the announcement of their arrest, the rates dropped dramatically. So they weren't as lucrative as they had been. There have been developments of new assets on Elon Stellar that have dramatically increased the returns. But yeah, they were arrested for their nefarious deeds. They were laundering money, child trafficking, you name it, they were in it. So they've been caught. There was declassification on that, and there's plenty of posts in regards to that on Telegram. So Lobster is now under white hat control. If it's not General Flynn's unit, it will be the Russian military.
Okay, interesting.
Okay. Yeah, that is interesting.
Or a combination of both, probably. But yeah, it'll be one or the other, or both.
One more question from the chat. If I can find it, I've just scrolled past the bloody thing. Not to worry, I'll come back to that. Would you like to go back to your prez? I can scroll that up to, as long as I can bring that one down. Oops, sorry. I'm sharing two screens here, but you're only seeing one of them. So it makes some of the documents I'm looking at difficult to find. So give me one moment and I will.
Well, while you're looking for that, Carl,
Yeah.
the assets, part of Lobster is the options, I believe, to buy certain assets of the cabal is something that's been promoted somewhere along the lines of some of the sort of videos and stuff that I've watched, like parts of being able to buy assets of Ford that's been seized, etc., and so on. Is that actually correct or is that incorrect?
Yes, that is correct. Those assets, to our understanding, are on the Indus.exchange for various countries. So yes, Australia does have au.indus.exchange that will be run by the country, and that is these Indus.exchange assets are only available on Stellar. They're not available anywhere else. So whichever wallet you use or to trade assets on Stellar, whether it be Lobster, Lumendex, Scopely, Stellar Term, you will be able to find these assets through them. The other domain is swisscustody.org, and they are a lot of seized assets as well. You've also on swisscustody.org, you've got your sovereign gold bonds out of India, as well as Errors, which is Rothschild's real estate, and then you've got Queenie's assets. So all seized assets that are on swisscustody.org. There's some Vest and Wolf assets there on Swiss Custody as well.
Okay, we're probably going to need some links to those pages because I couldn't get there.
No, you won't. They won't come up on a web search. Purely and simply, when the internet's going to crash and it's going to come back on Starlink. So because Project Odin is going to crash the internet and wipe it all out, and the monetary system will come back with a new system. So therefore they haven't uploaded the websites. They will upload them post-event, because why would you upload a new website when you're going to crash onto the old system when you're going to crash it?
Okay, so that immediately raises the question, right? If I go through and I take the punt and I go onto the Lobster wallet and I say buy 1 million assets in Ford Motor Company, how can I prove that I do actually own that stuff if I've got no way of verifying it?
You can check the validity of the TOML file on the asset through Stellar Expert, and there is a TOML file checker website, and I don't know that one off the top of my head Aaron keeps giving it to me. The quorum leader in Western Australia keeps giving it to me. He knows that one off the top of his head. But there is a TOML checker to be able to check under swisscustody.org, there's various assets to be able to check the code as to which company it's registered to. So say it was Ford, it'll come up with a Ford Motor Company, but a lot of the assets at the moment, you might be able to you can still get 1 billion assets for one XLM, and at the moment, one XLM is worth 9 cents US.
Yeah.
So
I'm aware of that. So for a smarter investor, it's a really good idea. It's also a significant risk. Well, not significant. I mean, you buy 100, use $90 and buy 10 billion. So it's a really good way if the people are aware of what's happening to increase their worth exponentially. But it's also a great way for somebody who is not human related or not looking after humanity to do the same thing and then use that money to their advantage.
Yeah, and those people will be identified, and that's part of the KYC AML. So anyone that is caught doing nefarious deeds, that's why the clawback feature is enabled on all assets, that those people, so that they can be clawed back to.
Thank you for that answer.
Just before we go on, David's got a question. The power went off. I think David's in Tasmania. Went off for a couple of hours today. Couldn't buy fuel, milk, or a loaf of bread without cash. That assumedly won't change. We'll just have rainbow currency.
With the power, there's been a lot of technologies that have been hidden from us. Tesla Energy, for one, which is free energy, and the power going off will not be an issue because energy comes from the ether.
Yep.
So go and have a little bit of a research on Tesla Energy, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Challenge with Tesla Energy at this stage is our current circuitry won't handle it. It'll blow up.
Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of changes, and it's not going to happen over.
You mean our computers will blow up if we connect to the ether?
Correct. Because it's passed through the air, and resistance and capacitance is relative to how a machine operates. It will overload the resistance and the capacitors and the chips, the microchips, etc., because there will be no regulated current voltage control or amperage control. I'm actually an IT person, so I do all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. That's why we will have rainbow currency for a period of time until those issues can be addressed.
Harvey Norman's in for another windfall then. New laptops, new TVs, new everything.
Yep. Give me Tesla technology as soon as you can, please.
Yeah.
So.
Now, would you like me to blow this up, or have you got somewhere you'd like me to go to on your IMF display?
I probably should have put it up on my computer, but Jim, you've done a lot of these with Emily of late. Was there anything specific that she called on this one for the IMF?
I can't see anything because I can't pull it up on my computer. So it's on my phone, and so it's like, even still, it's like, it's really tiny. I can't even see it. It's all blurry to me.
Something about
it was about Sailor.
Director of Strategy of Policy. Do you know about that one?
Yeah, the
portfolio, 50 billion.
I didn't hear it because there's multiple people talking. So please ask me the question again.
Jane, read it, please.
It was Sailor to become director of the IMF Strategy, Policy and Review Department. She was expected to assume her role on September 15th, 2020. She oversaw a portfolio of nearly 30 billion of operational and policy work and advisory engagements in the WBG global practices of finance, competitiveness and innovation, macroeconomics, trade and investment, governance and poverty and equity. She also had management responsibility for more than 2,200 staff in 138 countries, including 30 fragile and conflict-affected states. She was also in charge of the work on the financial sector regulation and supervision and crisis management. She also worked as assistant director in the European department and was the mission chief for Ukraine. So, yeah.
So she sounds like she's eminently qualified.
Yeah. There was something else she said about that, but yeah, IMF Payment Infrastructure for Innovative Technologies and DLT, August 2020, and IMF Legal Framework for CBDCs, November 2020. IMF CBDC could be the next milestone in the evolution of money, promoted DLT and highlighted R3, both Quarter and Conclave, Ripple and IBM Ledger. Stella signed partnership with Hyperledger in 2018, 2 years before IMF papers. The mandated central bank legal reform in order to accommodate CBDC's ability to create legal tender. Ability to issue currency equals core element of sovereign power. The IMF concluded CFTC needed to strengthen its rule approval process and resources. Stellar is only blockchain with IMF and UN minted assets.
I've got to ask, what do you mean by that? As in US minted assets?
UN minted assets. So,
yeah, because I mean, anybody can mint a coin. That's an asset
yes.
on that blockchain. So it doesn't even backed by anything. So is there some other asset that we're not aware of?
There are some UN assets on Stellar. I think Project Bluebeam is one of them, which is under white hat control and being used for good. And there are some other UN assets, and I can't think what they are off the top of my head because I don't personally have them in my wallet. I know my daughter's got one or two, but that's her thing, and I just leave her to it. So,
and once again, we're back to sorry, Jane. Once again, we're back to the International Monetary Fund, which are we to understand that is now being taken over by white hats, because it certainly wasn't before.
No, it definitely is now.
Question from Darren Bergworth, who runs a very large community organisation and growing that we're very happy to be part of here at the Voice of Freedom, Jim, called My Place. He says we can't trust the system that can be unplugged, that we can be unplugged from at any time. Can this happen with the system we're talking about? Can they unplug me from it because they don't like what I say?
They can unplug you right now.
Yep.
Oh, I know that.
I just had mine because I bought something with my debit card because I was out of the country. Guess what I woke up to this morning? They shut my card off because I made an out of country purchase, and they go, well, we want to make sure it's safe. Well, I made the purchase. So everyone's got to understand the system we have right now, they can shut you off. So now I got to call them after I'm done with you, and I got to tell them, yes, I made the purchase. I did this. I mean, they can do that right now. People need to understand that even in your banks, your money in the banks is not your money. As soon as you put it in the banks, it's the bank's money. All your bank accounts. Once you put it through the banking system, they could have shut it off at any time. That's not going to happen, but that's what the system was already. So when people are asking these questions, they don't even understand the illusion we've been living in. We're coming out of it. We're coming out of that.
Yeah, so I think Darren's aiming at is, will the new system that they're looking, or you're talking about now, is there that option to be able to unplug somebody? Can we trust the new system? If
they're doing nefarious things, so like,
but who's the arbitrator of nefarious things?
Yeah,
I mean, okay, if you're running around robbing banks or robbing people or doing no good, I understand. But our current Victorian state government is doing a trial on how far you travel every day, every week. And very shortly, a 15-minute city could well be coming very close to you. Now, if they decide that I can't travel outside that 15 minutes, and I do, is that a nefarious deed?
No.
Go, Jim.
All right. So this is all part of what I was trying to explain before. The ascension process is so important because this 3D thinking that we're thinking right now, we, the four of us, are getting our power back, but it's up to us to take it back. To live in fear, to constantly live in this derangement of they're going to do this to us. No, we don't. If we only allow them to do it to us, if we comply, we don't need to comply. The world we're going into, when you say, well, someone's going to be watching over our money, you know who's watching over our money? You know who's watching over us all the time? Does anyone know?
God.
You bet.
God.
Not
God.
all the time.
Yep.
No.
God.
No.
Well, Vince, I'm
Moving
telling you
forward.
right now, this new world we're going into is a godly world.
Yeah.
And all
not disagree
all evil is going to be taken out.
Mm.
That's what's going on.
But people,
that-
human
like
nature, particularly in the
1,000 years.
transition, period between, let's say 3D thinking and 5D or fifth dimensional thinking. In that transition period, people are going to be very lost, very confused.
Mm-hmm.
Things are, as you pointed out earlier, Jim, are going to be turned upside down, quite literally. A lot of people aren't going to come to terms with this, and as somebody pointed out in the chat, we've got to be able to treat everybody with love and respect, regardless of their level of understanding, because and some people are actually saying, well, no, this can't be forced on us. Well, I would say nothing is being forced on us, but when has any people in the world ever had a say in their coin or their money?
With the
It's
new
never
system, they're going to be in control because you're going to become your
Yes.
own bank. So you will
That's
be
right.
in control of your abundance.
Yes,
Except
that's
if
right. You will
somebody
be in
above who's
control.
in governance decides to turn off your account because they believe that you're doing something illegal.
Like going
Hence,
outside your
that comes
15
straight
minute
back
safe
with who's
city.
going to be the
Well,
arbiter.
the smart city thing is a deep state thing, and it's going to go.
I'm
Yeah,
only
but that's
using
not
it as an
relative to this
example.
question.
I want to know who the arbiter will be. We say the people, so I'm all for common law. I'm all for Magna Carta 1215 and trial by jury. Does that mean that we will be running trials by jury to decide whether or not somebody has done something worth, as you say, that clawback policy can be used and they can take whatever abundance was awarded to them back in part or in full or in pieces?
If you're not a criminal, and you're not doing evil things, you don't have anything to worry about. That's the bottom line.
That seems very fair.
That's a very generic type statement. There, I know a person that got
That's
arrested.
Vince, that's God's law. That's common law.
Yeah,
If you're not doing it, listen, you can play devil's advocate on everything in life. Is the sky blue?
As far as I know, but Jim, I'm not trying to.
But here's the thing:
how many people have interpreted God's law multiple ways over time? They are full-on God's people, but still they have this particular person interprets that particular message this way, someone interprets it that way, right? Understanding and believing in God is not 100% perfect. So there's always a chance where there can be a mistake in this system. This is the thing. How do we determine that someone has falsely, who might not be 3D or might have a bit of evil in them somewhere, it says that person did this to me, so the punishment is we'll close that person's bank account for now until we can figure out what's going on? Who's the arbiter? Who makes that decision? Is that done through a census system through the blockchain? Is that done by somebody who's controlling what funds can be transferred, even though
will it be AI?
Right? Will it be AI? Yeah, good question.
So let me ask you this. How's our current system working?
I think it's shit ass. That's
We
why
already
people are
know
so
that's
curious
control.
about what the next one's going to be.
I can't
My
understand
suspicion
because
it would be a trial by peers, because that's what common law is, and that's what we're going back to.
Yeah. Well, that's my
Okay,
belief.
so in other words, nobody will have control of an account until it's been through a jury. Is that what you're saying?
That
we don't know. We don't know. We don't
That's
You
know.
know, I
great.
don't
Yeah.
know for
Thank you.
certain.
We don't know.
I don't know for certain, but my suspicion would be a trial by peer
Yep,
Yeah.
under
that's a great
common law.
answer.
Yeah.
And I want everyone to understand your birth certificate money, your driver's license money, your income taxes, the interest you paid on every loan, all that money is coming back to you. So if you decide that you're not going to get into the digital assets, that's your choice. Again, all we are doing is bringing the information to you. You can use your own discernment on whether what's best for you. Your journey through this life is your journey. We're not here to
Yep.
tell you what your journey is.
That's
All
part
we
of
are
being
doing, I want to be clear on this. All we're doing is bringing the information to you. We're not telling you you need to do this. I want to be
Yeah.
clear on that. We're not telling you need to do this. We're telling you this is what's coming. This is the information. You take the information. You do what you want with it. It's your journey.
No, that's cool, Jim. That's very fine. That's part of being sovereign, being able
Yep,
to make
absolutely.
that choice. So you got more questions?
All right, back to you. No, I thought we'd better get back into the presentation. We've been going a while, and I think we're only not even halfway through it yet. So I do apologise for that. Is there any particular part of this you want me to blow up so that you can explain further, Jane, or read, or am I just scrolling on?
This one's pretty basic. Here we just see Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO for Ripple, showing the tip of the spear and proving that he is a white hat. This was last year at Consensus in front of Emily and the crew that went to Consensus. And there's lots happening in Saudi Arabia too, as we know. So, and it's just proof that more that Emily's found as far as the World Economic Forum with Brad Garlinghouse. You know, he addressed them, but here she's got evidence of him doing the tip of the spear, which is a white hat sign.
Is it? Because I've never, ever heard that sign called tip of the spear. It has always been an inverted pyramid and the sign of the Illuminati.
No.
Once again, if you do your research, you would find out that it has always been the tip of the spear.
Okay.
The Illuminati is this. It's not this. This is the tip of the spear. That's the opposite of this.
Yeah. Roger that. Okay. I just see a lot of the people that we've identified over the years as being deep state standing on stage just like that, holding their hands just like that.
Like what? Like this?
No,
like that guy is the tip
like
of the
this?
spear.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I might be wrong, but when I first saw this, I did a double take. It was a bit like the 66.6%. I sort of did a double take at that as well. So,
How many times?
Yeah. All right. I accept what you're saying. It's the tip of the spear.
How many times? This is what I'm talking about right here. You got the pyramid right there.
Yeah.
Then you have
give it a good shake. Give it a good shake and see if you can get those 3 owls to fall out of it as well, will you?
I'd rather burn it. I'd rather use it for kindling to start my fireplace.
Yeah, I hear you. So sorry, Jane, I've got you off track. Do you want to
right.
keep explaining?
Yeah, no. So and then there was further evidence that from Twitter posts and whatnot that Soros and Klaus Schwab were not going to be at Davos. So, and WEF meeting to the WEF meeting in Davos. So, yeah.
Didn't one of them eventually turn up, or at least a clone of them briefly?
Probably a clone, and it might have
Yeah.
been in front of a green screen. Because I think
Oh,
someone saw some reporters that were supposedly live at Davos had their Davos screen fall down, and it was just a green screen behind them. They were actually in the studio with the green screen.
Not helpful. RV Yemeni, they ain't. All right. So Stella advises CFTC. What the hell is CFTC?
Jim, you can do CFTC.
God, I gotta look it up.
Central Financial Trading Coin, I guess.
I gotta look it up.
CFTC, didn't you say commodity something the other day?
Commodity futures.
There it is.
Commodity futures.
Yeah. Yes. You guys got to remember, it's 3:30 in the morning here.
You're doing great.
So, you are. So according to an announcement from official Twitter account of the blockchain-based distributed ledger network Stellar Lumens, the Stellar Development Foundation, SDF, will be joining the Global Market Advisory Committee of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, or the CFTC. The announcement is huge, as it's a chance for the foundation to lend a crypto-native perspective to the committee as it seeks advice on opportunities and challenges in the global market space.
Carl, Community Future Trading Commission. Community Futures Trading Commission.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, that's got a word in it we like around here. I'd like to get more definition on the whole thing. The Commission's decision to include crypto market players. Oh, yep, righto. So that's just saying that they're getting in.
Yep.
And
that's
approval process.
Where she found that, yeah.
Oh, this is one that people are claiming is a deep state favourite, the universal basic income. Can you explain this a little more to us?
The universal basic income is how your funds that have been stolen from you through your birth certificate, with the corporation that was created through your birth certificate, through taxation, will be paid back to you, but it will not be given back to you in a lump sum, because there's going to be a number of people who have not done the work to be able to know how to handle large sums of abundance. So therefore it's going to be given back to people over a period of time so that they don't blow it all at once.
And I gather that if we're going back to 1955 type pricing, or as somebody put it the other day, your $100 note might have $800 worth of value when you walk into a store, rather than the $60 worth of value it actually buys you today. Is that another way of looking at this?
Very much. Yes. Your cost of living is going to go way down. So let's just say, Carl, your UBI is going to be, I'm just throwing a number out there, $5,000. But your cost of living now, because of 1955 pricing, is going to be around $1,500 to $2,000. That gives you $3,000 a month, to do nice things for your family. So,
yeah, sure.
And again, going back to what we're talking about earlier about the digital coins and the digital assets, that's just icing on the cake. The cake that's coming back to us, the foundation of the cake is our birth certificate bond money, the interest we paid on our loans, our income taxes, that's coming back to no one's going to have any more money stress. Plain and simple. That's all going away.
So, Jim,
I hope this becomes a... Sorry, where you go, Vince?
So, Jim, can you just confirm for the people that this is not the same thing as what they were talking about, where we'll give you a basic income and you will own nothing and you'll be happy? This is a totally different thing, isn't it?
It's correct, Vince. It's totally different. You're getting everything that they robbed us from. I mean, it goes back to the illusion that I was speaking about before, and even just the pyramid that I'm showing on our dollar bills. I mean, they're telling us front and center that they're ruling over us. They put it right on our current, our notes. I mean, these are notes. It says right on the top, it says Federal Reserve note. It's debt. Our new money system we're going into is not debt. It's asset backed. If we walk around with this currency, I could have a pocket full of this and I think I'm rich. I'm not. It's a note. It's all debt. So all that's been stolen from us is all coming back to us. So, when we get into the lobster wallet, you get into all these assets. That's all cream. That's all the icing on the cake. The actual money that's coming back to us is everything that they stole from us.
Yeah.
And it goes even back, even further in Afghans. It goes back to, I believe you're going to be able to go one generation back. So if your mother and father have passed, that that'll be divided up amongst your siblings and come back to you too, because they paid into the system. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it goes all the way back to 1933 is where it goes back to.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
I've
just been reading on this page here that the UBI beta test, which began December last year, apparently in Ukraine, that can be adapted worldwide. It confirms eligibility and distributes assistance in Circle Internet Financial's US digital coin or US dollar coin, a stable coin where the US digital coin is equal to $1 directly into a recipient's Stellar wallet, which they can then download on a smartphone. So now we've got it on our smartphone. This provides a secure place to hold and transport your funds in USDC, a stable store of value, allowing people to travel within a country or cross borders without the need to carry cash. What happens if I'm getting off the plane, I'm coming to visit you, Jim, and I get off the plane in Minneapolis and I drop my phone and smash it?
That's a great question, but you're going to have a debit card that goes along with your phone. You're going to have you're going to have a debit card that links up to your account. So it's going to be just no different than what you have now. It's not just going to be your phone.
Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
And so recipients can then choose to convert whatever that digital coin currency will be into cash, whether it is Australian dollars, euros, whatever you need for the local economy that you happen to be in. And and MoneyGram is something that is being touted at the moment. I don't even know. Is MoneyGram in Australia? If so, probably not. Sparse.
Yes.
It's sparse, if nothing else. Will there be, I guess, will people be able to go to a teller machine like they can now in every second, convenience store or the odd bank that's still left on the street? Will they be able to go to an ATM and not have to look for a MoneyGram location, or will MoneyGram automatically take over all our ATMs?
MoneyGram is in most 7-Elevens. So if you do a little bit of a search for MoneyGram in Australia, it will come up at most 7-Eleven stores. Some of the operators aren't very well versed in how to on and off ramp funds through Lobster, but you do it. You have to initiate the transaction in Lobster under USDC. So the USDC you saw there on the screen. And you can on or off ramp. And when you go into a MoneyGram to onboard funds, you are sending. So yeah.
Is there a cost to me either way, putting money in, taking money out?
No. Not until the first 12 months with MoneyGram's arrangement with Stellar, it was free, and I believe that expires in about July. So at the moment, it is free to use. I do believe there will be a cost moving forward after that, but we'll just have to wait and see what they announce afterwards. And I can also tell you too, in the last few days, South Africa have announced that they will be using a UBI type payment to help folks in South Africa that might be entrepreneurs, to get them established now. So that's only very new. So there's not a lot of information on it, but it has been announced in the last couple of days.
Okay. Cool. I'll scroll forward. Stellar Aid Assistance. Okay. SDF presentation at the CFTC GMAC. Don't know what that is. On Stellar Aid Asset, prepping the committee for the UBI. Millions of users anywhere in the world, including unbanked. What is an unbanked user?
A lot of people in Africa do not have bank accounts, so they are what's known as the unbanked. They barter, they may have cash, but they physically do not have a bank account because some of their communities don't even have banks in them. or they don't
Okay.
have the funds to operate a bank account.
Presuming
brings
that
up-
Africa's immigration policy is going to mirror Australia's, there's going to be a lot of Indians traveling to Africa soon to open up 7-Elevens with MoneyGrams in them. The question remains, I've never been into a 7-Eleven yet where they didn't charge you for whatever it is you went in to do. Will the people who are holding the MoneyGram machine be adding a fee because they've got a MoneyGram machine to hold?
I don't believe so, because it's a MoneyGram transaction. They shouldn't. There should be no charge at the moment. I haven't personally.
Okay.
I haven't tried it, but I know there's one in Shepparton, which is about a 50-minute drive from where I am. But I haven't been and tested it out because I haven't needed to.
Give it a week. They will have mapped a 50-kilometre radius from Shepparton within a week, and you'll have a 7-Eleven within 3 months. Trust me. That's how they
So
work.
the unbanked is something that's been going on for quite a while over in Africa, and it's a great concept. But it's also something that's already been done by Electronium. They've been running a system for the unbanked over there for 4 years now. So is this going to end up being a competition thing, or are you looking on the fact that ISO 222 makes that difference?
No, there's not. There's not going to be any competition. That's not going to happen that way. You got to understand, within probably 30 years or down the road, we're not even going to have money anymore. The abundance that's coming to us, it's going to come to a point where money is not even going to be an issue. Because if you really think about it, and I got sent this meme this week, and it really makes sense. The human species is the only species that has to pay to be on Earth. Think about that. We're the only species on Earth that has to pay to live on it. Is that ridiculous or what? What's that?
Bring on Star Trek. They had no money in Star Trek.
Exactly. But I mean, if you really think about it, we're the only species on Earth that has to pay to live. Why can't we just, exist and help one another and be a service to one another? And once this abundance, once we go through this cycle that I'm calling it, and this is my opinion, once everyone understands, when we have all this abundance and everyone gets a home, we can live as a community again, and we can just be neighborly and help each other without having to pay someone for everything we do. Just a simple handshake or a hug or a smile is gratitude enough.
I'm led to believe that the prize at the moment in this software field, at any rate, is point of sale and being able to get, I guess, transfer from wallet to point of sale. There are a few companies that obviously have that wrapped up at the moment, MasterCard, Visa being the two big ones. There are the other usual suspects. There's a new one I've been hearing about recently called Binance. Are these realistic options, given the support you've shown for MoneyGram already tonight, as a point of sale thing? So you'll be able to use your coin and buy your bananas with them.
Well, again, you're going to be able to use your coin if you're into digital assets. You'll be able to use your coin and send it into USD. You're going to use it into a DC or a United States Treasury note coin, but it's a DC coin that you're going to use, and then you can transfer it, and then you're going to be able to do your own banking. So you'll be able to take money out of whatever investment you have and send it into a USDC, and then use that as your cash, where it's actually available on your card. So you're doing your own banking. You're moving your own funds. You're not calling the bank. If you're in the stock market, which the stock market's going to be into the Stellar Network, you're going to be able to say, well, I want to take my Ford Motor Company. I'm just using that for example. I'm going to buy this car, and this car is $5,000. So I'm going to take $5,000 out of my Ford Motor Company stock and put it into USDC. And then now it's available to put onto my card, or I can transfer it into that person's account. And that transaction can happen right there, right from consumer to the merchant, without having any of the banks touch that money.
Yeah. Understanding that already there are cryptocurrencies out there at the moment that you can do that with, where you can transfer it straight onto your credit card and tap your credit card. That's already functioning now. A lot of people aren't aware of it, but there's quite a few that can do that.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes. Yep. And it's pretty simple, right? It's pretty simple, right, Vince?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
And the transfer doesn't take long at all. I think we said last week there's over 100 million transfers happening a second, was it, or a minute, around the world at the moment. Yeah, a second, right? Over 100 million and increasing on a daily basis.
That's inside Stella's network. And that's not including everything else.
Yeah. I sent my friend in Brazil. I sent her some XLM and XRP, and she got it within like 3 to 5 seconds. I said, "Oh, just sent it to you. It should get there right about." She goes, "I got it," just like that.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And like,
it's amazing.
I sent some coins to Jim because he couldn't find the asset to be able to add the trust line. So I sent him a few so that he could, claim those as a pending transaction, and then add the trust line so that he could add that asset. And, he had them sitting in his pending transactions within seconds.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Well, mind you, the banks are doing something similar now where I could send money to Carl instantly. So
the Oscar
it's already a function that's out there. So moving on to CBDC's pros.
Yeah, so we've got lower fees, faster transactions, smart contract automation can be used in other sectors, reduces payment fraud, promotes financial inclusion, increases competition amongst banks and financial services providers, removes financial middlemen, increases privacy and anonymity. Now what she
so I've got a question about increasing competition among banks and financial service providers. We're led to believe the white hats and usury is illegal in most parts of the world. We've been bashed with it. That's why we're going to get that sort of money back. How are the banks going to be competitive? All they're really going to be able to do is help facilitate the exchange of rainbow currency into digital and vice versa. They're not going to be able to go interest rates. What competition will banks be offering us?
There's not going to be any.
No.
That's what we're saying. There's not going to be any competition at all. The banks are being totally. They're going to slowly dissolve away. They're just going to be nothing more. What you just said. They're just going to be exchange centers with coffee shop. You get a donut or an orange or an apple or a banana and sit down and get your currency and visit with your neighbor. That's basically what they're going to become.
Yeah.
Okay.
Little coffee
question
shop.
before you move on. A question on the one that most people are going to ask about is increased privacy and anonymity. So if for people who are not 100% au fait with how wallets work, etc., you have two sets of keys. One's called a public key, one's called a private key. The public key will allow anybody to look at your wallet and determine what amount is in there. The private key is what allows you to transfer, move any of those assets anywhere else around the world. So how does a person keep their privacy even now, even with Bitcoin or with XRM or whatever, XMR, sorry, which is the best privacy coin? There is always that front-facing wallet. As soon as somebody ties a name to that wallet, the privacy's gone.
And that's with your Stellar wallets. You've got the option of adding a federation address that can identify you. You can choose not to do so. And if you don't do so, unless you give somebody your Stellar address, which starts with G, no one knows whose account they're looking at.
Right, okay. So it uses the federation address and then transfers it to your private public or your public key.
No. You use your G address. The federation address is only an optional. You use that G address.
That's right.
So So now I'm confused. Sorry. Can you clarify that?
So with
means that
Stella, you've got
address-
your Stella address, which starts in G.
Yep.
And that's the address
yep.
that's your public address. The secret key is the one you don't give to anyone ever.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. So what's the federation address then?
The federation address is a name you give to your wallet, whether you put your name on it, or you can just leave it blank. You don't have to set a federation address. And that federation address is public. So you can give your wallet a nickname and say, oh, Joe Blow, and it'll be Joe Blow *lobster.co, and that's the federation address. Whereas your Stellar address it's a big long thing with numbers and digits.
That's the address that when you're doing a transaction that you're going to give to
somebody
for that transaction. So it still comes back to it. How is privacy maintained? Once somebody is tagged, oh, I transferred money to Vince Panel's wallet, right? I now know that's Vince Panel's wallet. I'll let that public address out. This belongs to Vince Panel. Or how is that even tracked in the system? You know, that's a privacy issue that is difficult to control under digital currency.
Yeah. So, but unless somebody, you give your wallet address to somebody, no one will know
a transaction.
but no one will know. I suspect, well, that's how it is at the moment, but I suspect that we're going to see some changes moving forward.
With the quantum computing system, I think we're going to see a huge increase in security, and even though blockchain says that it's uncrackable now, its encryption is uncrackable, I have a sneaking suspicion that a quantum computer might be able to crack it. So it is going to need, I think it's a given that the security, while we can surmise what it might be, we have no real understanding of what quantum computing power is able to do yet. So I think it's a given that will be used to safeguard it in some way, shape, or form.
The conversation that I had with Nick Ragone, so the Wall Street whistleblower that works or does research for QSI and actually helps explain the quantum financial system and has exposed how the Fed is broken, how it all came together and worked together. He said the same, that he believes that there will be greater anonymity moving forward and privacy because we're going quantum. So, it's going to have privacy. There'll be a way that people won't know your actual, you won't be able to see or track what's in your wallet unless they've got access to the Horizon servers. So, those, authorities that need it for investigation purposes for the nefarious characters.
Yeah. And bearing in mind, government's going to be 10% of the size it is now, apparently. So there'll be less people to do the checking.
And just so people understand, the quantum system is off-planet technology. Yes, our friends are archangels in the sky. That's their technology. So you can't cheat the system. It's unhackable. You cannot cheat this system, period.
Okay. Let's get into the cons. The CBDC token.org equals layer 2 governance assets. What does that mean?
There's some tokens on Stellar that are on that domain in regards to banks. So that, and they're layer 2 governance assets. Where is it? Central banks could turn into direct competitors of payment service providers, thereby forcing banks to lose income. Furthermore, new investment opportunities with CBDC could reduce the consumer deposit demand. Subsequently, CBDCs can lower bank lending to the general economy and economy growth.
That's because it's controlled by the bank.
Yeah.
So, but this will end bank lending practices, uses liquidity tokens to reduce volatility, major competition for the banks. significantly increases risks of system-wide bank runs during financial crises because of forking assets equals over-collateralized debt. So the cons are for the banking industry, not for us. The cons mean that, you know, there's a real threat that they're not going to survive, which we know that they're not. So this is the way of explaining it to everyday people. But Nick gives an even better description.
Can you explain what that last line means during the financial crisis because of forking assets?
Where do I say? Where did we say that?
That's
Right
at
down the
the
bottom.
bottom, right down the bottom of what you just read. So significantly increases risks of system-wide bank runs during financial crises because of forking assets. Can you just explain what a forking asset is? Because I'm pretty good with accents.
Put it this way: forking, I think, it splits.
Right. So,
but Jim will have a better explanation.
I don't on that. I just don't.
So I understand.
It's a bit like a blockchain. And when you fork a blockchain, you take one ledger down this side, and you make a duplicate of it down the other side. So they're taking an asset, and then they're basically making a duplicate of asset and using the money from both sides. Does that help?
Yeah.
That's what forking means.
Yeah.
Right. Very good. Scrolling on.
Quantum compliant banks. Quantum compliant banks. So all accounts have dollar equivalent in XRP or XLM. All banks have contracts with XRP and an asset minted on Stellar. So new banks with 100% reserves in gold, XRP, and XLM, no USD dollars, or for us AUD dollars. Stellar, Starlight, Starbridge, Spacewalk equals wrapped assets and smart contracts. So, and all banks have contracts with XRP and an asset minted on Stellar. Those are the ones that are SPIA compliant. So SPIA, which means Stellar Protocol Integrity Audit. So they've had to pass through that and sign up to SPIA in order to be able to mint an asset on Stellar. The only one of our Australian banks that I have seen publicly announce that they are minting an asset is the NAB. They're the only ones that I've seen any public acknowledgement.
So if we understand that correctly, what you're saying is that if I, as a user, wanted to put an asset into my Stellar wallet or whatever, I would have to confirm that that asset exists before it could be wrapped. Is that correct?
Correct.
Which also gives me the choice to not bother putting my asset in there at all.
Yeah, buyer beware kind of thing.
Right.
Beautiful. Hope that answers that. A lot of people are asking on the chats about they're not going to do anything to do digital. They just want to live in a cash-based society. What's going to happen to those people?
Yeah.
Well, the cash is going to be a transition. And, it goes back to what we're talking about again. And folks, we're already living in a digital world. You're just not recognizing it. If you have a debit card, a credit card, or you're paying your bills through your bank with an electronic transfer, you're already living in a digital world. Okay? So we're going to have rainbow currency. It's going to be a transitional part, but it goes back to we're kind of talking ourselves in circles again. Eventually, money's going to go away. People have to grasp this. This is all part of the ascension. We're kind of answering the question over and over and over again here about the fear. I mean, we're living in fear. We got to get rid of this fear. We're going to live as brothers and sisters, and eventually cash is going to go away. Money's going to go away. We're not going to need it. Yeah. We're just not going to need it. So no one needs to worry. All the information we just provided you with your birth certificate money, everything that we just spoke of, it's all coming back to you. You're not going to have any money worries at all. None.
Yeah, exactly,
So
Jim.
this comes down to that faith, though. This comes down to that faith. Is that actually going to occur? right? Because we know we've got the dark side that wants to do the CBDCs where you will get your wage for, and that's it, and you will own nothing. Then you've got this side that's saying, we're going to bring this all back. So the people still, being sovereign, still need enough facts and information to be able to choose whether they're going to have faith in this system that you are proposing.
Well, nothing can stop what's coming. It's up to you to do your own research and not rely on what we're telling you. It is happening, folks. There's nothing that's going to stop what's coming.
Yeah.
It's
so I have one challenge in here, which I read up earlier, which was the fact that the quantum financial system is controlled by the very corporations that are under control of the cabal.
Corporations are going away, Vince. Corporations, corps are dead. Corporations are going away.
How do we know that's going to happen? How?
It's already happening. We're living in it right now. We're taking our sovereignty back.
Oh,
Everything.
yeah.
If you don't want to believe in it, that's your choice. Okay, this is part of the ascension process that I was trying to get across earlier in this video. If you want to stay in this realm, that's your choice. The rest of the people are going to ascend. Your choice is your choice.
Okay, so a large majority of people are not going to make that move because
that's their choice. That's their choice. Yeah, that's their choice.
Once again, it comes down to majority rule. So if there's a majority of people around the world who are not prepared to move into sovereignty, aren't they the people that are going to mainly control the world?
That's their choice. Simple as that. You're free to make whatever choices you want.
And look, if people want to sit on the fence for a while, that's fine. There will be a transition period with it, but the quantum financial system is here to stay. So, whether you choose to live without fear and embrace it and choose to become fearless, that is up to you. Only you can dig deep within yourself, connect with your soul, with your Christ consciousness, whatever source, whichever way you wish to go, that is purely up to you. Trust your instincts. You need to start listening to yourself and not to everyone else. Listen to yourself. Do your own research and trust your gut.
Okay, that's 100% correct. People don't necessarily have to live in fear, though, to be wary, right? So no. I don't live in fear, but I'm wary. I do my research. I do look around, and at the moment, there's evidence on both sides. So it's really interesting. You have to make a judgment call. As we get more and more evidence come through, I think that's going to be a good way of helping. Do you find that in your position of promoting this, that is a challenge?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Do you see banks closing?
I already know they're closing. We've had 2 close in our own town.
There you have it, right there. There's your proof.
I already knew that part of it, but there's a lot of people that can't make that jump.
Vince, we cannot control. It goes back to the 4 agreements. If you haven't read the 4 agreements, what other people think is none of our business. We can't we cannot control how other people think. All we can do is provide information. What they do with that information is up to them.
Okay.
And yes, it is difficult to promote or to give out information on the QFS because as some of us, or a majority, I don't know, a large number of us at QSI, well, everyone at QSI is aware that there's a lot of people are still under NDAs, so non-disclosure agreements. So therefore, not a lot of the information is readily available, or things are given to us, and we need to learn how to decode them and understand what is being said to us, but not being said to us. And Emily is actually very, very good at that, and she deals with a lot of developers and people on the white hat teams in regards to what's coming down the line. And she might find some things and put them all together, and she'll say to them, is this correct? Or am I accurate? Like when she did the Mt. Gox decode declass that she did here not that long ago. Am I 70, giggle if I'm 70% correct? Well, they sent her back a giggle, didn't they? So she was over the target on it. But there's on some of the subjects that we are touching on, there is not a lot of public information available. So that's where it's absolutely paramount that we trust our own instincts and we learn to listen to them, and we let go of whatever fear that we've got, release all fears, judgments, and because that's part of the ascension process as well, let go of them all so that we can then look at things with an open mind, clear conscience, and be connected to source or Christ consciousness, so that we know how to trust our own instincts and judgments.
Yep, true. Let's get back into your presentation, the Starlight demo video. I don't actually have that to play, which is a bit unfortunate, but you can actually see the link down the bottom there, folks.
And it is also, that video is also in the QSF proofs as part of QSI Welcome on Telegram, as part of the basics course and introduction to Stellar for people who wish to learn more. And there's a lot more information in regards to the ISO 20022, the 3 executive orders, US MCA section 27.5 in regards to all corruption. It's all there.
Okay, because there has been, speaking of corruption, there's been a lot of emails sent this week about this whole thing being scam. Like Charlie Ward's name was brought up, and I know Charlie has got 25 million followers or more at the moment. And I started following Charlie, years ago. I've got to be honest, I haven't seen too much in the last 12 months. So I don't know what Charlie's into with this or not. Why are people saying that this whole thing is scam-like? Why is this question continually being fired at me?
Well, again, this all goes back to doing your own research. I cannot answer what other people are thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to sit here and defend. All I'm going to tell you, it's so easy to sit in the cheap seats and be a critic without doing any work. And I know I'm sounding pretty hard right now because I'm tired of people being critical without doing any research. The lazy people are the first people to complain. Now, one person wants to do anything. Look at what's going on in our world right now. People are rising up. People are fighting for their freedom, and then the majority of the people are just going about their business acting like nothing's ever happened. But they're the first people to complain. People need to wake up. If you see that something's wrong, why don't you go answer your own questions? I'm not going to sit here and defend people. I've done the research. I've done it.
Yeah.
And it's time for people to take their own spoon out, because I'm out of spoons. I'm done spoon feeding people. I'm more willing to help people that want to learn, that want to do the work, but to sit back and make these comments, I got no comment for it. I'll be honest with you. I have no comment for it.
Yeah. Yep. And the other thing too that potentially makes it look scammy is the vast number of NDAs that are in place. And yes, Charlie is under an NDA. He is part of the RV process with the currencies, the physical currencies, like your Zims, your dinars, your dongs, those sorts of currencies. He is a part of that. And he has said that when we see him go to South Africa, we'll know things are really starting to happen. He was still at home in the UK the other day. So when Jim and Emily were last speaking to him. So, and that was Wednesday US, Thursday our time. So, so,
well, fingers crossed,
and the NDAs do make it hard because, the information's not out there publicly available. And, there's a reason for those NDAs because they, need to keep rounding up the deep state cabal before they can release too much information. And the certain events have got to happen before those NDAs can come off. But I believe the end of March sees the expiration date again of a lot of the NDAs.
And just to answer the question as well, Stellar has been around since 2014 when it first integrated into the cryptocurrency. It's now years, 14, 8 years later, 9 years later, it's still around and it's still going strong. It wouldn't have survived if it was a scam. I'll just tell you that now. They might not all be in the right direction, but Stellar as an organisation has been around a while and has earned trust.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's just a fact.
Spot on, Vince.
Yeah. Somebody's getting very excited in the chat saying, you're telling us we have to. Nobody's telling you have to do anything.
Not a
Everybody's
choice.
been quite clear. You can be involved in this or you don't. You will still have cash. You will still have coins. And that's what a lot of people are saying. I'm going to keep my cash. Thanks. Well, great. You can do that. I don't know that there's any need to have a great song and dance about it. It's not that hard to understand. You can keep your cash. If you choose to go in and get involved with all of this digital coin and wallets and all that sort of stuff, well, that's your choice. If you choose not to, then that's your choice too. There's no point screaming at others if they want to make a different choice, or getting upset because nobody likes your choice, or nobody follows the choice you made. That choice might be right for you. Great, it's right for you. It may not be right for everyone. So this is part of what we're going to be talking about more in this ascension that Jim mentions. Tolerance, people. Tolerance. Doesn't really matter what you say, think, or feel. Go off and do it. Nobody cares. But don't go trying to force it down somebody else's throat. Don't go screaming in the chat what you're going to do. Go off and do it. Because you can. Nobody's telling you you can't.
All right.
So
to go with that, Carl, right? A smart person won't put all their eggs in the same basket.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you're not going to just plant carrots and hope to live off carrots the rest of your life.
Yeah, my understanding is that if you had $10 and you could go and put it into some of this digital coin and it all happens the way that we're being told it's going to happen, you stand to enrich yourself a little bit more with a bit of cream, as Jim put it. This isn't how you're going to get your abundance. This is just a bit of cream you can add to it if you want to.
Yeah,
exactly.
So,
and it's all about personal choice. You know what's right for you. What's right for me might not be right for the person next door or the guy down the street, but that's fine. We need to respect everyone else's opinions. We're just here to share information to allow people to make an informed decision. We're just sharing information so that everyone knows what's happening. Because the more informed you are, the more likely you are to be able to make a fully informed decision and listen to your inner guidance. Because your inner guidance is paramount. As soon as we let go of our fear, we can do anything. We need to just believe in ourselves.
Yes, exactly. 100% believe in yourself and go off and do whatever yourself is telling you to do and thoroughly enjoy it. Stella Starbridge, tell us about that. What's this about?
It's becoming an established interoperability layer between a wide variety of financial systems. Yeah, me and big words tonight are not doing well. With a growing number of Stellar anchors connecting fiat currencies with stable coins issued on Stellar. Today, users can redeem assets in their Stellar wallets off network for an actual dollar, peso, or another fiat currency in their pocket. Or more importantly, they can exchange between currencies at a faster rate and lower cost than they could on existing rails. Stellar partners with Pendulum and Flare. So Stellar partners, Pendulum and Flare are enabling access to other blockchains through the development of technologies bridging blockchain to blockchain. So CBDC is stablecoin plus government treasury, mints burns legal tender. Symmetrically bidirectional Stellar assets and Ethereum ERC20 tokens should be transferable in both directions with equal capabilities and functionality equals ETH 2.0. The account contract where assets are locked up will be controlled by a group of Starbridge operators equals white hats. So, Starbridge is all about being able to bring coins from other blockchains onto Stellar.
Right. Okay.
Along
I
with
understand
Pendulum
that.
Flare. They're creating bridges to go between them all. And XDC is also a hybrid coin to do similar.
So the CBDC managed by Treasury departments. Now, my eyes sort of opened up the first time I see that, but got to understand government will be changing. And whatever government it turns into, there will have to be some form of Treasury department that will have to set some form of monetary policy, I assume. Is that right, Jim?
The Treasury Department in the United States was taken over. They all were arrested. They were audited, and they were taken over. So the white hats are running the Treasury right now. And the Treasury is now in Nevada. It's no longer in Washington, D.C. So the Treasury is totally 100% being managed by the white hats.
Okay. So that takes us back to where we were at the start of the conversation with white hats controlling central bank digital coins and using them to bring the deep state down. The XLM equals liquidity token.
Yeah,
All right,
originally we
so-
were all told that it was a stable coin, but it's now being considered a liquidity token because of the amount of different types of assets that are being minted on Stellar, like commodities, real estate. My brain's going blank. I had all this
What
earlier.
about things like cattle, sheep? You know, if you were a farmer, would you do it by the
Commodities.
flock or by the individual animal or that sort of stuff?
Commodities.
Commodities. Well, beef's a commodity, isn't it? Maybe not.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's a
It'll be
commodity.
how you determine the contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So smart contracts. So if you're going to do a contract of sale, it goes through. Yeah. Got anything further to add, Jim?
Okay, is there XLM being the coin that will move in value or price? You're talking about a second CB, well, not a stable coin being created on the Stellar network. Is that correct? One that's equivalent to whatever might be a central bank digital currency, or which is equivalent to $1 now. So that I'm just the bridging has got me a little bit. I understand bridging and I understand bridge networks and transfer and all the stuff coming from working amongst multiple blockchains, and a lot of those cross-bridging platforms have been hacked and millions of dollars stolen. So, but I'm just.
Nope. There you go. They didn't like what Vince was saying, clearly.
We got Vince.
Yeah, got booted. Maybe the power's gone out in South Australia. I wasn't quite sure where he was going with that. I was having a bit of a look here at the confirmation that Bitcoin and Ethereum do not meet ISO 20022 standards, which they have to meet. Now, ISO 20022 was created by President Trump in 2017 as part of an executive order. So if people want to go looking up that particular executive order, I think it's 13848.
Yeah, it could be actually. That's one of the 3 executive orders. So there's 13848, 818, and 13959.
Right, and they are each involved with various different aspects of the creation. Well, they help. Each of them have various different parts to them, but they all have various different orders to create different agencies to help monitor and set all this up at different times. That's how it works from memory.
Yeah, from memory, that there was an order Trump signed in regards to the quantum.gov website, and that's where you can find it, quantum.gov in the US, that in regards to the quantum system. So if you go and have a look at that, you'll find a great big lot of information there. And and the other 3 orders were in relation to human trafficking, seizure of assets, so for interference with an election, and then there was also someone that was contributing to the CCP and their military activities. So a person that had been known to contribute to them against the US or other countries.
So this is probably the most important panel for me in the entire presentation. CBDCs on Stellar are not central banks. Please explain.
Decentralized. There's a difference between centralized and decentralized. These are decentralized. They're not run by the central banks. Now, with that being said, there's a movie plan. We're living in a duality. Only a few people like us know this. The rest of the world don't know this. And they're going to use this. The military's going to use this to wake the people up. So when you hear, well, I'm hearing this, yes, I get it. But that's all part of this plan to wake people up. So people need to understand we're living in a duality world right now until this thing totally gets taken care of.
And the other thing too that is here, the actual CBDCs, so cbdc-tokens.org domain, they are a collection of assets tokenizing IBM's quantum computer used for global governments, BRICS banks, African banks, agricultural banks, and many more. So they're not actually not central banks. They're all connected to. So you've got your IBM Worldwire, DBSA, BNDES, I think is Brazil, Innova, I can't remember what that one is, NDB, HSBC, BNP Paribas, and that was mentioned in one of the previous slides as well. So, and there's a lot there connected to agriculture as well as the African banks.
I think people should get some comfort out of the fact that it is a decentralized coin, not a centralized coin. That for me is something that got drummed into me last Monday when I learnt the differences really between the two in minute detail. And it was certainly what we were getting a lot of pushback about during the week. I think there was some confusion after last week's show. So I think tonight's been very useful. I think we've been able to answer a great deal of questions, even though at times we've pushed you, Jim. I do apologise. Australians are a sceptical mob, as I said before, and the last thing we trust these days is government. And we're probably a bit more vehement about not trusting our government than many Americans are, because I think many Americans want to trust theirs. We just don't. So any kind of oversight, particularly of people's finances going forward, is something that they're very concerned about, and particularly being blocked by government agencies from being able to access their funds. So they can be, if you like, coerced into certain behaviours that way. So that's where a lot of this, I think, pushback has been coming from the audience tonight. And certainly Vince means no harm with any of the questions he's asking. He has been giving this a lot of thought during the week as well, and been getting a lot of feedback from people too. So we appreciate you getting out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning to come on here at 2:30 and give us this education. And it really is an education. I've learned a heap tonight. Can't thank you enough.
You're welcome. Yeah. The biggest thing, you guys, is this. We got to get out of this fear. I mean, if you're really paying attention to what's going on and you are really wanting to learn, I mean, the information's out there. You just got to go look for it. And if anyone wants to learn more about this, go to QSI on Telegram and take the basic training course, and you will learn everything about the quantum financial system. It's so perfectly laid out. And the QSI team, Emily's team, has worked diligently and hard, and it's unbelievable what they've done. And once you go through the basic training, even myself, who I thought I learned, it's incredibly laid out. There's more just in the basic class. I learned things in the basic class. So I cannot strongly suggest. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. This is all for humanity. Just go to QSI and go through the basic training of the QFS, and you'll learn, and everything that we're telling you will become proofs. And we have the proofs into the schooling. And I apologize, but it is tough. I mean, I've been working long hours. I've got 3 hours sleep. I was up at 1:30 getting ready for this. Jane knows I've been on shows all over the world. We're all we're weathered, we're tired, and it's we need to be positive. We need to focus on positivity. And I want to tell the people that are being negative, if you have questions, do some research, but don't lay it on everyone else, and don't be a critic. Go out and do your research, because the information's out there. And what Vince said about the Stellar Network's been running for a long time, and everything's going to go through Stellar. Even your cash is going to go through Stellar. Yeah, it's going to go through Stellar. Everything's going to go through Stellar.
Yep. So research, and choice. That's the thing to take away from tonight, if nothing else. If you didn't understand anything else, take away from this that there will be choice. You will be able to live in a cash society if that's the way you choose. If you have your gold and silver tucked away in a safe place, and you just want to go and chisel off a bit of that every now and again and take it in and convert it to cash, you can do that. And that's in effect what the banks will be doing for you. They won't be able to charge you, anything over a very, very small fee to do it either. They'll be simply there to make sure that you weighed up the right amount of gold, and they give you the right amount of rainbow currency for it. I think I've got that right, don't I, Jim?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
and silver, you're going to see silver. You're going to see silver is going to go at a pricing that they've never seen before, because number one, there's not nearly as enough silver as there is gold. And there's so many new technologies that are going to be coming out that are going to require silver. There's going to be a demand for silver. Same with copper. Don't leave copper out of it either. Copper is going to have, people are going to be really surprised with the value of copper too. There's going to be a lot of technology that come out that are going to really need silver and copper.
Don't know what it's like in the States at the moment, Jim, but in the building industry around here, they have to put security guards on building sites overnight once the copper arrives to lay all the hot water and all that sort of stuff, because it doesn't last a night. If it's left up in a roll, it's carted off and somebody's got it. So, yeah, they're investing in copper in other ways.
Be thankful, because over here in the States, they went over to freaking PEX, petroleum products, which, you want to rip all that shit out of your home because you don't want your water going through petroleum. But that's what they're doing over here. And all the plumbers, I love it. Well, it's killing us. It's poisoning us. It's important to have the water going through copper pipe. It really is.
Yeah. All right, Jim, thanks very much. I know you're probably got another show to go and do, so I'll let you shoot off. And thank you again for coming in tonight, and look forward to having you back again for another chat soon.
Thank you very much, you guys.
Good on you,
Thank
mate.
you, Jim. I appreciate.
Sorry, mate. I'll bring you back. There he goes.
There he
No,
is.
he's coming back. His internet's playing up.
I appreciate your taking my questions with the honor that you did. Thank you.
Thank you, Vince. Yeah. Well, just so you know, I'm going to crow back in bed because I could use another 4 or 5 hours of sleep.
Excellent. Good on you. Good on you.
Guys.
Sounds like what I do, Jim.
And Jane, thank you. Well, I'll let you go and crawl off into bed too, although you've probably got another hour or two's work ahead of you as well. So thank you very much.
Yeah, possibly, yeah. So, yeah,
All right,
but thanks for having us. And, yeah, we will bring Nick Ragone with us one week too. So,
yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I love talking to whistleblowers. So,
he's the Wall Street whistleblower. So that'll be fun, won't it? And, he's very knowledgeable on Stellar and CBDCs as well. And he can explain exactly how the white hats are using the CBDCs to implode the central banks.
Okay.
Great.
So are we looking to do this again next week?
I can, if it
Yep,
suits you
that's
guys.
good for me. Yep, I'm all
Yeah,
good for
okay
that if
with
you
me.
are.
Yep.
All right. I'm sure there'll be another raft load of questions. But that's what it's all about, asking questions. I've always found it incredulous that some people feel that education only has one side. I find I have to get a baseline before I can argue one point or another or make a decision whether something's good, bad, or indifferent. To get a baseline on a topic I know nothing about, I've got to ask all the questions, all the stupid ones, all the dangerous ones that make me look like I'm working for the deep state, because I've got to get a baseline. I don't know what's good, what's bad. So, and I think, Vince, you'd back me up on this, that the people are probably struggling with finding a baseline themselves as to, okay, well, this is the good side, this is the bad side. How do I tell the difference between the two? And that's essentially where I've started my education, right at the bottom end. And it's all about getting as much information as possible. And as you said, Jane, everybody gets to make their own decision. Nobody's going to be forced into doing anything they don't want to do. If you think that you personally or any civilization in history has had control over the coin or the paper that has been issued to it, you're 100% incorrect. There has always been some form of government that issued this, because if it didn't, you could walk into a paddock, pick up a rock and say, that rock's my $100 note.
Yeah.
And
In actual fact, you could
tell you
write a
differently.
little promissory note and that's still valid. But anyway, that's a different subject.
That's true. That's true. You need a little Dremel or a big rock, one of the two. I find the topic fascinating, if only because it raises so many questions, and it does seem to have such a polarizing effect on many people. I'm keen to find out why it's so polarizing. Yes, I'm aware of the deep state connotations to all of this, but my big flags are centralized coins, central banks. There is going to have to be some form of government in every country, and that government is going to need to have oversight of their own minted coin. I would suspect their own digital minted coin. While we've been talking about the US Treasury and USD tonight, unless we really are the 51st state of America, I suspect, and even if we are, we will still mint our own digital coin.
We do.
It'll probably
It's
be called the
AUDT.
kangaroo. Yeah.
AUDT.
AUDT. There you go. And it'll
Yeah,
probably have a
and
kangaroo.
That's the Treasury one. That's the Treasury one, and there will be one from the NAB. I haven't seen the name on that one yet.
Right. So
Interesting.
they're going to be backed by precious metals and other investment. Right.
Yeah.
So government will control. So if you had, my understanding then will be that if you had something in your lobster wallet and you transferred it into the financial system because you wanted to get cash out of a bank, let's use NAB's banking as the example, even though they seem to have their own coin. Government would set the price of that coin, I dare say, or is it going to be one for one around the world? Look, will the Australian dollar be worth as much as the US dollar? Will we have to stump up $3,000 more for an item in Australia because it's not being paid for in US dollars? It's being paid for in the Australian version of it, digital coin. It's all backed by the same color and quality gold. So I can't see how there will be any, disparity. It should be 1-to-1 across the world, shouldn't it?
It's going to start at 1-to-1. Is
Really?
my understanding. Yes, my understanding.
I would have thought that it would have
Everyone's going to be on parity.
Yeah.
Is that through the stellar system, or are we talking about the country's individual banks?
No, I'm thinking the individual banks.
Everyone's going to be on parity, is my understanding.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
So this is why we have these discussions, because it brings out bits and pieces where we can ask questions. As I said, don't trust the science. We've been there, we've done that.
Yeah.
So for those who are watching this and wondering what we're doing here, we're trying to get that baseline. I know more about crypto and blockchains and everything than what Carl does, which is why I'm involved here. Right, I've been in the crypto markets since 2017, so I have my fair share of that. But the whole concept here is to throw the positive and the negative and work out what's truth and what's not truth. So it's an information session, guys. This is why it's here. It's not we're picking one side or the other. It's an information session. So please take it as that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not us supporting one thing or the other. I don't know enough to support anything at the moment other than buying gold and silver. So that just makes perfect sense to me. But I'm trying to gain the knowledge. And you guys are along for the ride. Now, if you want to jump in the chat and scream your head off in there, well, that's fine. Nobody's paying much attention. Because while you're screaming, you're not learning, you're not listening, you're not hearing. You're reacting to one portion of something you think you may have heard. And maybe you did hear something, and it's all well and good to react. But this is an education thing here. Nobody's forcing anything down anybody's throats. And as I said, tonight's takeaway from me, at least, is it's a decentralized position we're talking about, not a centralized position. And if you want to live as you may today in a fully cash way, with no plastic at all, then you can. There's no big issue here. Whatever asset you have in the bank at the moment will be converted into whatever asset, one for one, that is coming in under the QFS. That would be my understanding. And really, the only thing that's going to change is the color of the notes and maybe the coins, or what's on the coins. But we've been through that. We've been through the loss of the $1 and $2 notes and gone to gold, and that was going to be the end of the world. We've been through the loss of paper notes completely, and now we have high security polymer bits of plastic that go really well unless you leave them under a hot iron for a little while. We were able to cope with that change. Yes, there were people who fought off. Oh, God, what happened to the old note? Doesn't feel the same. Oh, it's too slippery. It's going to fall out of my pocket. And bugger it, they do. But we've made do. We've found better ways of storing our money so it doesn't fall out of our pocket. Found better wallets. We've adjusted. I see nothing in anything that's been presented tonight or last week that says you are going to be compelled in any way to adopt any of what we're talking about here. Is that right, Jane?
Yeah, exactly. It's purely choice, but it is coming. And there will be a transition period for those that want to sit on the fence. And that's perfectly fine. If that's your position, that's cool. If you don't want to have a bar of it, that's fine. But yeah, do your own research.
Sandy says you keep saying do your own research. Well, we are doing our own research, but if we can't get access to the documents to do the research, how the hell can we do the research? So you're saying that the research is at that QSI site?
Yes.
The education site.
The best thing I can advise anyone to do, if they don't already have the Telegram app, to join Telegram and jump on the QSI welcome on Telegram and go through the basics training, because all the documents and with links to sites and everything are all in there. It's really a great way for people to learn more.
Absolutely.
Also,
all right, Jane, I'll let you go too.
Yep, no worries.
Also, probably we should just say to the people out there today, yes, this was a very long and heated sort of discussion that went between us, and we did not acknowledge many of the people in the chat. We will try and make up for that next week. We appreciate you've got questions, but we're trying to get some baseline set tonight, so we apologise for that.
Yeah. So I'll go back through the chat and pull a few of those questions out of there. And if you've got anything further you want to ask, you can email me, carl@vofhq.com. I don't know, have you created your own email address for vofhq.com yet, Vince?
I have too many email addresses now. I don't need to add another one.
Very good. Very good. All right, Jane, same time, same place next week.
Cool. No worries. Thanks, guys. Much appreciated.
Be careful. You're likely to find a busload of subcontinentarians coming to your town real soon looking for a great place to start up a 7-Eleven.
Oh, there's plenty of them here already, but that's all right. No worries.
Yeah, they're probably Ubering, are they? Oh, I didn't say that.
All right. No. Don't have Uber here. So, yeah, but there you go.
I'll give it time.
Give it time. Give it time.
Yep. All right. Have a great one. We'll talk to you next
week.
Week.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Cheers. And Vince, I can't thank you enough, considering the last couple of days, what you've been through. We won't go into it, but you have had a medical procedure done. No, you didn't get your arm nearly cut off, but it is certainly showing signs of taking a bit of a beating. So I'll let you go and recover, mate. Thank you for your input tonight too. I think the people got a great deal out of what you were putting forward. So I really appreciate you coming in and helping me.
Happy to help explain some basics to those who want to learn about that, about what cryptocurrency is and wallets and bits and pieces at any stage. All else I can say is, remember, guys, this is a learning exercise. This is both positive, negative. It's so that you can find information to make your choice. If you've made your choice and you reckon you know where you're at, fantastic. For those who haven't, that's what we're here for. So also, because Carl keeps forgetting, don't forget VoF HQ, right, where you can go and support Carl and help him get out on the road and do bits and pieces, not only for this, but for things like our wonderful My Place Australia, which is going rockets all over the place. And here I am taking over Carl's presentation network. So I'm going to leave it, and we'll catch you all later. But please go there, supporting. There's donations available. There's memberships available. Choose. I'm a member. I've made my membership payment. I want to get him out on the road because he's doing a fantastic job as a voice for the freedom for the people. Okay?
Yes, thank you, mate. I really appreciate your plug for me. I'm humbled by it. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, go forth and convalesce. We will speak during the week. Good on you, buddy. Thanks, mate. And to you folks, it has been spirited in there tonight, hasn't it? Look, I don't tell you you've got to learn anything. If I had my way, I probably wouldn't want to be learning anything about this. I'm like a lot of people, just find it a bit too hard to deal with. But from a bloke who has absolutely nothing to be able to learn something about this, where I might be able to, out of some pure fluke, be able to maybe get a bit of cream, as they put it. And for the investment of 10, 20, 50 or $100 or whatever you can afford to do at 9 cents a coin, I can't see that buying XRP or XLM at that price is any great sacrifice. And if it is to go the way that it's predicted to go with the QFS, then you're in a good position. If you haven't, then you've lost 20, 50 or $100. Or have you? I don't know if you've lost it. I don't know enough about it yet. But I suggest that if you're investing in the coins that, are stable and are backed, then you can't lose. At least not at the moment. Government. People are very concerned about government. Well, with this great change comes a huge reduction in government, comes a huge reduction in laws and oversight. People will be responsible for their decisions, and they will be held accountable for those decisions. And this is what a lot of people, I think, are not recognizing, but are already starting to resist. This is about responsibility. You will be held accountable for where you spend your money. If you are going to spend that money in nefarious ways. Now, what are nefarious ways? Who are the arbitrators of nefarious? Well, I dare say that the beginnings of that will come with the forming of our new government and our new laws. And a lot of those new laws will be old laws, but they will be reviewed in a way to make sure that they are fair and that they are reasonable and that the people can and already do live by them. Natural law. We know what's right. We know what's wrong. If you don't know what's right or wrong, then I'm sorry, there is something wrong with you. Now, I'm not talking about a little bit of right and a little bit of wrong. I'm talking about, it's not right to murder people. It's not right to spit in the face of people. It's not right to abuse returned servicemen. Right? That's the kind of thing that's not right. And we know right from wrong. Now, when you are given all this abundance, when you are given access even to a UBI of, let's say, $5,000 a month, that's a lot more than a lot of people earn. You think of everybody who's currently getting their Centrelink payment, their New Start payment at the moment, which is, something pathetic a fortnight. Then all of a sudden they're going to go to $2,500 a fortnight. People will be screaming, give me all my money. Okay, well, what's that going to go to? $10,000 a fortnight. And we'll still find ways to spend it. Everybody will have a super yacht. Everybody will have a big car. Everybody will have the best boat, ski boat, whatever, light plane, big plane. God, go off and buy yourself a, 787 or something, or an A380. I believe they're pretty cheap going these days. So that's what's got to be avoided, because there will be a lot of people out there who get scammed as well. Oh, I've got this great deal for you. Oh. But the good thing about it is that if you make that bad decision and you use that abundance money and you get it wrong and you go and take these people to court in front of the people and you found, that you were scammed, then yes, you can get your assets back and you can get your cash back. Good luck handing that if you're getting it back if you hand it over in your rainbow currency. That won't happen. You won't get that back. So from a security point of view, in that way, I think the whole thing has merit. Do I have security concerns about government being able to control where we go, how far we can go, and where and when we can spend our money? Yes, I do. But they are a bit more than slightly alleviated, knowing that with access to gold and silver and cash, I can still be off the radar if I choose. Now, okay, we all know I have no gold or very little silver, so I won't be off the radar for long. But that's not my point. My point is that that's the way you live, you can live like that still. There is no problem. The banks won't be like they are today. The banks will be coffee shops where you go and chip off a bit of your gold bar and they turn it into rainbow currency where you go off and spend it wherever the hell you like. That seems like a fair trade. You don't have to be involved in all the rest of it if you don't. I'm trying to find out if it's worthwhile being invested in the other bits, the XRP, the XLM. I can't say XLR because that's something you plug into the back end of a microphone. But I know nothing, and that's all I'm trying to do, expand my knowledge base and then be responsible for the decisions that I make, because that's what's coming, folks. Whether it's you and your gold being converted into rainbow currency, or it's a huge amount of abundance that turns up in a blockchain account that's accessible through your current bank account, you are going to be held responsible for those choices. If you choose to go out and rip people off, then there will be consequences. If you choose to go out and waste your money, blow it as fast as you can, then there will be consequences. You will turn yourself poor. You will keep your family poor and your lineage probably quite poor. So you need to think about those sorts of things. I've been saying now since this show began, every decision has a consequence, and everything in our life is about the decisions we make. We've all made bad decisions, all of us. Some of us more than others. We've all made bad decisions, but we've made good ones too. The consequence of making a good and a bad decision are obvious, but sometimes figuring out which is the best for us and which isn't is not easy. So at those times, I've discovered that I go, and I can't believe I'm saying this, inside myself. Listen, quieten those voices that are talking and listen to the one voice that's guiding you. And then you'll know where to go. If you haven't listened to that one voice that's guiding you, because there are so many other voices in there talking, find a quiet space, learn how to meditate. Get in touch with that inner voice because it's telling you truth. It's guiding you, and it's guiding you through your body. Some people refer to it as a conscience. I guess in times it is. The Jiminy Cricket bit, but I don't know. I just like to think that it's understanding, evaluating, deciding, and understanding the consequences of that decision. And of course, there will at times be unintended consequences. And that's where the challenges in life come. It's a bit like driving along the road, folks. You never know when that next bastard who's been jabby-jabbed is going to turn left in front of you without blinking or any indication. So, yeah, lots of dickheads on the road, folks. Lots of poisoned ones on the roads. Be safe and try very hard to avoid the dickheads.
This is the voice of freedom.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!